Peace and blessings, family. It is on once again. It's going up. It's yours truly, Bakri Jambo. I'm the founder of EY Pele Movement. My beautiful wife, Amani Jambo, is the co-founder. EY Pele Movement, we focus on your spiritual, your physical, and your financial well-being. EY Pele is a Yoruba word for gentle character. So we focus on gentle character. We focus on Iwa Yoruba word for good character, which gentle character is good character. So that's what we focus on here. This is an African centered learning based ministry. Okay. And so we like to introduce you to the various spiritual aspects of African spirituality that will help you to evolve spiritually. And so when you transition, you will go to a higher dimension when you leave this body. So that's what we like to focus on as you walking in the spirit, you living your best life in this life. And on today, I'm just blessed to have on the founder, Reginald Martin of the Khemetic Center Living on today. You're in for a treat. My wife and I, we listen to him. He focuses on, of course, what the title is, right? That's what he do. So the title speaks for itself. And I'm telling you, it's a plethora of information that he shares. And I promise you, you will be enlightened. The various comedic aspects that most actually misinterpret. And I've learned that listening to him. Also he comes from more of an esoteric, metaphysical side of the house. Our brother comes from a Christian background for predominantly most of his life. And so tonight he's going to share with you his spiritual journey as relates to how he evolved, as well as he's going to share some information with us that's going to help us to evolve too. So, Brother Reginald, how you doing on today, my brother?
Hey, Brother Bakari, I'm doing great, man. Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, man. We're so humbled and honored for my wife and I. Thank you so much for coming on and blessing the platform with your great wisdom. That you share, man. Like I said, we tune in. My wife is definitely one who's a fan of your body of work, and she introduced me to your body of work. And I said, man, I have to invite this brother to come on because we just started on this comedic journey, and we know we don't know everything. So it's wonderful to have individuals that you can interconnect with that can help to educate you so you could better understand the comedic way of life. And you definitely are that one, man. So we love listening to you, man. So we're excited to have you, brother.
Hey, well, I appreciate being here, man. I'm humbled that you would even have me on. So thank you so much. I'm
Welcome.
excited to be here tonight and share with your audience, and doing a little simulcast too with my audience. So this will be fun.
Absolutely, man. So let's get to it. You don't mess around when it comes to swinging that sword of truth, man.
No, I mean, hey, you know what, man? Either you can keep playing with it, or you can just get it out there, and people gonna take it how they take it.
That's
So,
true
but
indeed.
the truth is the truth, and I do my best to be compassionate, about what I speak. Even coming from a Christian background, a lot of people, when we first leave, a lot of times, man, we're angry, you know and I mean,
Oh
we
yeah.
feel like we're duped. We've been duped and all that stuff, and I went through that phase too. And
Mm-hmm.
man, ticked off family members, and I wanted to beat them over the head with the unk, and you know all of that. Been there, but
Yeah.
through the years, I learned that you cannot change people's minds if you're going to berate them and beat them down. You know,
Absolutely. That's so
you
true.
know, and ultimately, this journey is not about them. It's about us. You know,
Absolutely.
and that's one of the things that I've come to learn through this journey, is that a lot of times, a lot of people say, yeah, I want to teach my people, I want to teach them that. But man, it ain't about teaching your people. It's about what you're learning and what you're doing, because
Mm-hmm.
it's more about, people are going to recognize who you are and how you are, and they really don't care about what you have to say. You know, because you
True
can
indeed.
say one thing and be living another way, and people are going to watch how you're living, you know
That's a
and
fact.
yeah, so and it really comes down to, with this, for me, it's always been about practical application, because
Hmm.
I think that so many times, and this is, I know when I first started on my journey of learning the Kemetic ideas, a lot of times it was more just about trivial knowledge. It was historical knowledge. It was about just learning some facts.
Yes,
But in
indeed.
the end, once you learn the facts, what do you do with them?
Now
You
that's
know,
the
how do
question.
how do they impact your life? And once I started getting into these ideas, and I came from first a metaphysical background, so I knew how the metaphysics worked, and I know metaphysics very well. But
Hmm.
for me, it was like, where was this stuff grounded? You know, and
Hmm.
when I came across the Kemetic teachings, and I found out that it was African, basically African stuff, law of attraction, all of this,
Mm.
what they call New Age,
Yeah, let's
is
talk about it,
African,
man.
man.
Yeah,
It's
let's talk
African.
about it. Put it out there.
Yeah, all day long. So for me, what I realized was, and what it ended up helping me do, was also connect the questions that I had as a Christian,
Hmm.
the Kemetic, then the reason why I'm so passionate about the Kemetic spirituality, because there's many roads to that can lead to your path. It doesn't have to be Kemetic. It doesn't have to be this one path that's the perfect path for everybody. That's what Christianity is.
Mm. Hmm.
That's just not true. You know,
Hmm.
but what I like about this is that it answered the questions that Mom and them said I shouldn't ask when I was a Christian. So all
Yeah.
those questions that people will say, well, God don't want you to know that. Well, that ain't true. You just didn't know it. so,
Man,
so yeah.
we gotta talk about this, man, because she and I, we were listening to your spiritual journey,
Uh-huh.
from religiosity, to spirituality. And I would love for you to share that, because we listen to this brilliant mind that you are, and I would love to share with the audience what transpired in your transformation that caused you to leave religion and to move into spirituality.
Honestly, brother, uh, all of a sudden I can't even hear your sound now. Something happened.
I can hear you.
Now I can hear you. Now I can hear you. I don't know what happened. But I heard your question. Your question, what led me from basically Christianity to and on my journey to where I am now. And honestly, brother, it was common sense that really started me on my journey when I was probably 14 or 15 years old.
Wow.
I started asking questions, just because I've always been that child that just said that asked that question why, you know, and well, why is this? Why is that? And I just remember asking my mom when I was young, around that age. I said, Mom, I said that I said people, we talk about God talks about sending people to hell. And I said, I know some people, I know that, just say, I know the Jews don't believe in Jesus.
Hmm.
And basically I've been taught that if someone doesn't believe in Jesus, they're going to go straight to hell. Well, if a person is a murderer and then on their deathbed, they say, I accept Jesus in my life, you're saying that they can go to heaven, but a Jew that has done good things and been a good person all their life is going to automatically go to hell. And I
Mm.
said, is that the way it is? And I asked it in some kind of form like that. And my mom looked at me and says, yeah. And brother, that just bothered me from that day on. I mean, I that question and that thought just really set me on a path to wondering how that just seems so unfair to me.
Wow. And
You know,
you were a teenager thinking like
I was
that?
a teenager. I was a teenager asking
Man,
questions.
I
You
wish
know,
I would have been thinking more like that.
well, you know what though is we come
I
to it in our
promise you,
time
man.
though. You know,
That's true.
but
That's
even
true.
though I was asking those questions, I still couldn't make the decision for myself because I lived in someone else's household. You know, so so moving forward, I think it was the summer before, right before I went to college. I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and that brother became my hero. Because
Yes,
I
yes,
wanted to every book that he talked about
yes.
in that book,
Peace and
I
blessings be
wanted to
upon you.
read, and I've just about gotten to all of them.
Wow.
But
Truly,
he
truly
started me
my
to,
hero too. He's truly my hero too. Seriously.
yeah,
He really is.
yeah, so he really started me on a path to learning, and just really becoming a lifelong learner. And I happen to have gotten a basketball scholarship to a Southern Baptist school, white Southern Baptist college. And so that was an introduction because I came from basically an inner city school, and then I was thrown into this mix of students from all over the world, different races, white, black, brown, Indian, all kind of people. Okay,
Yes.
but the college was predominantly white, and most of them were Christian. So probably the first, I don't know, month I was there, I got so angry about Christianity, I just said, "Hey, I'm atheist." I said, "I'd rather go to hell than believe what y'all want me to believe," which
Hmm.
was they didn't say these words, but the attitude was, "You can be a good Christian, but you can't be as good a Christian as a white person."
Now,
You
really,
know,
me this. What was it that you read that sparked that in you that
just comments that
challenged
they
your
would
thinking?
say. I remember we were one night we were in our apartment, okay, and it was a group of students, white, black, and me, basketball players. Since I played ball, I got to move into a lot of different circles. Okay, they accepted me in a lot of different circles, and I just remember looking at this magazine, and this young lady who was white had a magazine, a bridal magazine, because she was wanting to get married and looking for stuff. And I kind of was looking at the magazine, and just saying, saw this model in the magazine. I was like, man. I said, and I can't remember what I said. I said if she comes with the dress or something like that, I said I'd take it, and or said something to the effect of being married to her or something. And the model was white, and she looked at me. The student looked at me and says, y'all wouldn't want to get married. I said, huh? So I said, why not? Says, well, if you did, y'all children would come out polka dot,
What?
or something to that effect. Yeah, she was making a crack, but it was like, but she was dead serious. It was like for a lot of
Wow.
them, they just did
Oh
not
man,
believe
bruh.
in
Wow.
mixing races and stuff like that. And I
Yeah.
just remember saying to her, I said, well, I said our children would end up being beautiful or something. But that stuck with me, you know. But there were other comments like that, again, being a ball player, a lot of people, they kind of want to hang around you and stuff like that. And at that time, they would, the test was, and the way I looked at it later is how close can I call you the N word without you like whooping my ass? How close did I come up to that ledge? So one of the things they would do is they would like make these little jokes, little racist jokes. And I remember this one dude put his arms around me and said, "You know what? There's this joke I heard, about this little black boy, and he was jumping on the trampoline, and there were Velcro walls. And all of a sudden, he jumped too high, and he got stuck on that wall, meaning that his nappy hair got stuck on the." I looked at him, And I didn't laugh, and because at that point I'm like, I'm not going to accept something like that. But it was just little stuff like that you just kind of get, they let you know that you're different, you know. And so at that point, I decided I was atheist, man, and there was no God. And I was like, I was ready for the consequences to go to hell as far as I was concerned at that point, because I still believed in those ideas, you know. Well, I said I'd rather go to hell than believe what you want me to believe about me. I'm not inferior to any man, you know. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of where I was going with that, or where I went with that.
Now,
And
did you ever have any type of like any type of supernatural type of thing happen? Did you have any interaction with an extraterrestrial in your transitioning, or was it just simply like information that did it? You read it, it didn't make sense to you, and you just started walking that path, or did you?
you mean coming out of atheism back into spirituality?
You
Is
know,
that
through
is that
throughout
is
your
that
whole
the
journey.
transition?
Yes,
Yeah.
throughout your whole
Well,
journey.
well, I had things that happened that we probably would call like miracles. Um, and this was after, years after college. It was actually years after I had been divorced, because I actually went back to Christianity. I got married and went back to Christianity for a while, but I knew too much at that point. I still believe that, in a lot of stuff that Christians believe, but I was out of the box by that point, so it
Hmm.
really couldn't hold me.
So
But
what
but
helped you to totally get rid of it?
Just study, experience, and again, common sense. I just started asking questions, and really, one of the main questions, because I went through a lot of difficulties, doing changing jobs and stuff like that. And one of the things that got me on the spiritual path was I was in the process of changing jobs from one job to another, and I ran out of money, ran out of paycheck, and I had
Mm,
month left over.
mm.
So, you
Yeah,
know,
buddy.
so and but the apartments, they wanted their money, you know.
Yeah,
So I
buddy.
was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and
Mhm.
so I couldn't borrow from anybody. And they were getting ready to start eviction papers on me. And
Wow.
something one day said, hey, just go check your mailbox. And I rarely ever needed to go to my mailbox or anything. And so I went to my mailbox that day. Because there was one letter in that
Mm.
mailbox. And that letter, I opened it up and it had a check in it. I still to this day don't know where it came from, but it
Wow.
came from a company, and it was enough to tide me over from my next job to my next paycheck.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow,
Have
that's
no
powerful.
idea. I had nothing that was going to be able to that 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 was going to be able to tie me over. I still, like I said, to this day, I don't know where that came from. Okay. And true
Mhm.
story, true story. If I
Okay.
believed in the Bible like I did, I put my hand on a stack of Bible and say,
Okay, so let's get into it. You chose a very to some it may be a controversial title. How negative Christian programming
yes.
keeps a person stuck and living a boring life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Living mundane, living not wanting to take chances, take risks, not wanting to live life on their terms. So what actually started me to on this path that I'm on now is to recognize how, because this is the question that I ask, is why is it that you look around the world at the African diaspora and you look in most neighborhoods, there of course are exceptions, but you look in most neighborhoods where there's a grouping of black people, and for the most part they're in poverty, but there's a whole lot of churches in all those neighborhoods, you know.
Yes.
So first I asked the question, why is it that we're different? And racism of course plays its part,
Hmm.
but there are other people, other groups that racism that are not white that have racism that they have to deal with too. You know,
Hmm.
they're not all living in poverty like we do.
Fact.
Okay. So I started to ask the question, well, what is it? And in college I studied psychology. Okay, so I actually have a degree in psychology. And so I started to connect the dots to self-esteem and basically why our neighborhoods were not economically self-sufficient, because I know that we got plenty of smart people in our neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know that we got plenty of people that study business, that take courses to study business and do everything, but they still don't start businesses. And I remember there was one line in Malcolm X's book that always stuck with me. It says a black man and a white man can go to Harvard and get a degree. The white man will go out and start a job. They start a business, and the black man will go and get a job from it.
Mm.
That just rang in my head for years. So what I started to notice is that in our communities as a whole, we essentially ingest negative programming every single Sunday. In the under the guise of being humble, if nothing else. You know? And
Yeah.
then even Christianity itself is built on two things that have to go hand in hand. That's the idea of original sin, being born a sinner, being born and thought of as wicked,
Mm-hmm.
and needing a savior to absolve us of those sins.
Mm-hmm.
One cannot exist without the other with Christianity. But as a people, if we're every Sunday affirming I'm wicked, or I'm nothing without God, or I'm a born sinner, or I'm a wretch. All these things that we are ingesting in our minds every Sunday. And I noticed the connection of, because I just remember in my neighborhood where I could drive down this one street, brother, and there were literally 5 churches next door to each other. I'm literally. I mean, you could walk out of one
Mm-hmm.
door, go to a
Oh
church,
yeah.
go across that church, go to another church, go 5 of them. Okay,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
in one of the poorest neighborhoods.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I started to ask the question: why isn't it that church isn't uplifting us? Because I knew that the white community had churches too, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
there was a disconnect between build with and what I saw as a disconnect was that we worshiped God as something that did not even look like us, as the idea of perfection, but that perfected being did not look like us. So how could we as black people ever reach that state of perfection if we could never be white?
Mm.
Okay, so all of those things come together to basically help me to say, look, there needs to be a change in our communities where we do become economically self-sustaining. Okay, where we can build, we have to build businesses in our
Mm-hmm.
communities to
That's right.
uplift our communities, to serve us. Okay,
That's
and
right.
I'm not saying being a segregationist or anything like that. I'm just saying that we need to be able to circulate money in our communities, and
That's
we
right.
don't do that today.
Absolutely. That's right.
We don't do that today.
Family
So
business. Nothing wrong with family business.
no, nothing at all. But so my question is if we got smart people, educated people in our communities, but there is a lack of businesses, what's stopping us? We got plenty of people that's got great jobs. Okay. But
That's right.
a job you cannot pass a job down to your child.
There it is, man. There it is.
You know,
That's
so
right.
we need to be able to transfer wealth.
That's right.
So in my mind, the thing that's been holding us back is the negative programming, because as a psychologist and a psychology major, I understand how negative programming impacts you. And as Christians, we ingested these negative ideas all day, every well, not all day, every day. Well, nah, I guess we did, but and I know in my community, my family, man, we they were staunch Christians, and they were so Christian, man. We fought over whether my Jesus was the right Jesus or not.
Wow, that's
Yeah, they were
deep.
serious. They were
I must
serious.
admit, unfortunate, I had to deal with that one, but I say.
Man, man. The Christianity essentially tore our family apart. It really did. So I say all that to say that that's what really started me on the movement of really helping our people to I'm not against Christianity per se, but the negative programming is something that we have to get over. And what I recognized was is that our people are not going to move away from the Bible unless you can show them that they can be safe in moving, to moving away from it. Or in my case, I want to give you a better understanding of what this knowledge really was about before Christianity twisted it. Because
Mhm.
everything that came from the Bible is actually African spirituality twisted,
Let's talk about it.
repackaged, and served right back to us.
Let's talk about it, brother. Drop some jewels on us this evening.
Man. So the even the idea of Jesus, we this is and now I don't know if if you've noticed, but I've been noticing on YouTube, and I know you can kind of go down a little rabbit hole, but there is a lot of biblical scholars now turning atheist.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A lot of them are they're like, man, this stuff just don't add up, and I'm tired of trying to make it add up. I can't even can't deal with it. But they
That's right.
usually stop at Greece, as far as where the knowledge stops. And they said that you can't go any further back than Greece. That's only because they hadn't looked at Egypt and Africa. But everything from in the Bible is again is repackaged Khemetic spirituality, and Khemetic spirituality is the mouthpiece for African spirituality, because the ideas that they have in Khemetic spirituality were all over the continent of Africa. Okay, but again, the Bible repackaged their stuff. So that's what fires me up about Khemetic spirituality. And what I say is that you can answer all the questions
Mm-hmm.
that I had about Christianity, but not only that, you can reorient your mind to a more empowering state. Okay, when
Mm.
you understand the African and the metaphysical aspect of these ideas. Okay, so that's what my website, my YouTube channel, any classes or courses that I do, it is about the practical application of these ideas. And first you have to unlearn the old stuff. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
have that old Christian frame, I don't care what
Mm-hmm.
you do. If you're in that old Christian frame, you're limited.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I noticed the difference even with the prayer life being spiritual. It's not begging.
Yep.
You
Yep.
move away from the begging and you start speaking things into existence, like affirmations, and the language that you're utilizing when you're praying is completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something that
Yeah.
I noticed, my good brother.
And even in Kemetic spirituality, it goes beyond what we're speaking, because I don't know if and I didn't know this until I started studying stuff later, but about the acts, when you're talking about the Christian prayer, the acts, the adoration, what is it? Adoration, confession,
Mm-hmm.
thanksgiving, and supplication.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you always had the and we would hear it, when the deacons were praying, they go, Father God, I want to thank you, Father God, for being here, and I want to tell you, Father God, that I'm a sinner. I'm coming to you in my word of in my state of being a sinful wretch,
As
Father
humble
God.
as I know how.
as humble as I know how, Father God. I want to thank you, Father God. Okay. So I just went ACT. Okay. And Father God, I want to ask you in all my humbleness, to do such and such and such and such. So that's the ACTS, the acts. Okay. And we get taught the rituals and we get taught the words, but there's a whole level and a whole nother paradigm when you're talking about the Khemetic spiritual idea of prayer, because in Khemetic spirituality, you are never not praying. Okay.
That's true.
You are never not praying.
That's
And
a
the
fact.
double negative is intended. Okay. So when you're getting into the Kemetic and the African paradigm, it's more about your essence, which is a vibrational essence. Okay, you are a vibrational being. The universe is at its essence vibration. Okay, at its essence, what we today we call energy. Okay, the
Mm,
essence of
mm,
energy, that and everything vibrates. All right, energy, what we call energy today in our new age vernacular, means the same thing as spirit back then.
mm-hmm. The car.
The ka is that's actually a part of the soul, but even the ba. So the ba is spirit. Okay, that is the essence of everything. Energy and spirit are the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you as an energetic being, you're always vibrating. That means you're always communicating with the universe. So that means you're always praying. The idea is what kind of prayer are you sending? Because the universe, from a Kemetic perspective, the universe is the reflection of your inner essence. Your universe, your
Mm-hmm.
YOU universe, is the reflection of your essence. Your essence is your vibrational being, which is your life is reflecting back to you who you are being. Okay, so in that instance, you're always praying, and the universe is and your life is feedback as to who you are being. If you're broke, you're thinking about lack. Your essence at that moment is lack on some level. Okay, if you're feeling lonely and unloved, then the essence that's being reflected back to you is that feeling, is that you end up producing in your life the scenarios and the people that end up making you feel lonely and unloved. So if you want to change that reflection, you got to change what's in here. You got to change you. That's the difference to me. And we were talking a little bit earlier. There are sometimes there are people that they say that they're conscious, but
Mm-hmm.
these basic foundational principles they don't get.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
they sound unconscious, like somebody knocked them upside their doggone head.
man, they can be ugly and nasty and blah
they
blah blah.
sound,
But when you
they
truly
sound
grasp,
unconscious, man.
yeah, but when you truly grasp this knowledge, it is really about the essence of who you are that is going to be reflected back to you. If you see ugliness in the world, if that's all you see, guess what? What's up, Chris? So if that's all you see is ugliness in the world, then that is the reflection. That is your reflection, because your frame of reference, your frame is ugliness. You know,
That's
and
right.
that's how you see in the world, and you're going to have that reflected back to you to confirm that. Okay, so
Absolutely.
that's a Kemetic essence, and that comes from really a philosophical essence and a philosophical perspective that of mentalism, and the idea of mentalism means that the essence of creation is from the mind of God. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because from an African perspective, there is only one source of all creation. There's only one source. So, and this is the original idea of monotheism. Okay. So God couldn't, if the source, what we call God, couldn't split itself and create stuff, because if it did, then that means that there would be more than one God. There would be more than one source. But there can only be one source. Okay. So the only way that God can actually create is from the idea of the mind. Okay. Which it says that we are made in the image of God. Well, if you take the image of God and make it look human, that can be abused. And it has been. The image is not a physical image. It is the ability to use our minds to create. That's some powerful stuff there.
Yeah, man. You getting got a lot of good feedback, man.
Thank you,
Brother
thank you. Appreciate
Alicia.
that.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
that.
Yes, sir.
But that is the essence of Khemetic spirituality, is that you have the ability to create on this plane of existence. So you are a creator. And that's why I call the people that are connected with me, my tribe, we're gods and goddesses in training. And we're in training because we're learning how to use our power. All right. So that's the thing that we're doing is we're doing that, and we're transitioning, or this life is what's being used to help us learn our power. And if we as Black people think of ourselves as victims, then we can only hope that the victimizer can change.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're powerless, you can't do it. So you're going to get hope that the victimizer will change. And that's a lot of times the position that we're in. We're mad at people who are racist. And we want we want the system and all of that to change. But in reality, we have to change. We have to be able to make those or do something to change us. And that's where, for me, it's about being economically self-sustaining. The system is stacked against us, in this country. It has been for years. But that does not mean that we can't overcome it.
Absolutely.
But if we don't believe in our power and our ability to create, and we're just victimized by the system, then we're going to go and pray to Jesus every Sunday and hope that he's going to fix everybody.
Absolutely, man. That's one thing I like about spirituality too, because it teaches you to tap into your divine power.
Yes. Yes. It recognizes that you are divine.
Yes, the kingdom is within you. Your divine nature, your higher conscious, your higher self. Let's talk about it, bro. Go in. Put in that work, bro.
No, you're right on it, bro. You're right on it. Because that's the truth. And again, I go through the Khemetic spirituality because it helps to confirm these ideas. It grounds these ideas into in a history. It grounds these ideas into a framework. And that's what I like about the Khemetic system. And what frustrated me, and the reason why I started doing what I was doing, teaching my classes and stuff like that, is that I didn't find anybody that could actually put the Khemetic stuff in a framework or in a way that was digestible.
Yes.
People want to find something, find it in a book, but there's not Christianity, but Khemeticism is so new that the ideas have just now a lot of them are just being discovered in the last 50, 60 years, and if people have thought that our ancestors worship trees and cats and dogs because they see the heads on a netter and believe that that's what they were doing, that they were worshiping. But again, there's this idea that we look at ancient African spirituality through a Christian religious lens.
That's right.
We assume that because we worship something, that our African ancestors worship something.
Come on, talk about it. Come on,
They,
talk about it, man.
bro, they
Talk that
didn't
talk, big
worship.
bro.
And this is the difference. I wanted people to understand the philosophical difference here.
Yeah, break it down, bro. Break it down.
When you worship something, you're talking to something, or believe that you're talking to something outside yourself, something separate from you. That's what worship is. You're worshiping and hoping that you can gain favor from that thing outside yourself, whatever that might be, God, whatever you call it. Okay.
Yes.
Our ancestors didn't have that kitty-like thinking. That's elementary school thinking when you think that God is outside you. Okay. Because for them, it wasn't about God being outside you. It was about you tapping into a power that is a part of you and within you. So they didn't worship. That's why I said prayer and all that stuff was different. They didn't worship. They were tapping into and harnessing the power that they knew that was within them. That's what their whole system was built on, was the idea that you are a part of nature. God is nature, and the manifested aspect of God. We are the manifested aspect of God as nature.
The netter.
Okay? The netter. And that's what netter basically means, is a function, or it wasn't they weren't worshiping a God. They were helping you to understand how nature functions, because that's at the essence of everything that they taught was a numerical or what we call numerology today, mathematical formulas. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They basically personified these formulas. Those personified formulas became Jesus, Lazarus, Mary, Martha, and all of them.
Let's talk about it, man. Because what I notice is that it's like what you said earlier, big bro, how unfortunately people take Christendom and then they come to the spiritual, because they do the same thing to the Orishas. They make them into gods.
Yep.
And you know, a lot of, even in the Khemetic side, unfortunately, a lot of people, these are the gods, those are gods. And you know, I'm so grateful that you translated that, because a lot of us don't understand, you know, that there are aspects of nature, and then how we correlate with that. Like what we are is actually speaking to us about us.
Yes. Yes.
You can
Yes.
talk about that, because I remember you was breaking down too how some people, they misconstrue even the judgment side about the Khemetic side, about the weighing of the heart and the feather. You know, I don't want to get too far ahead, but you know what I'm saying? If you can, you know, touch bases on that too, you know, in that regard, that'll be great. I love the way you had broke that down in that video.
Yeah, and we can talk about all of that. So definitely. But let's address this idea of the idea of us being God as nature, okay, or a natural aspect of God expressed, okay. And this is from, and this is where I say Kemetic spirituality and African spirituality is true monotheism, okay. And if you don't have any respect for who these people are, you wouldn't have any respect for their philosophy. Or no, I won't even say you won't have any respect for their philosophy, because Greece and Rome and everybody was trying to steal it. But understand that they repackaged these ideas because they didn't understand them. Okay. But the African idea of God was, and I like to use the analogy of God as an ocean. Okay. So if everything in the universe is a part of that ocean, then that means that we are a drop in the ocean. But that also means that the ocean is in the drop. So we are the same as the ocean, just not the same magnitude. If you think about Christianity, the way that they teach it is that somehow we are different than the ocean. We are apart from the ocean because we're automatically born wicked. If we're born wicked, we cannot be the same as the ocean if they believe that the ocean is all good. Okay? So that's a disconnect right there. So when Africans said, "Know thyself, and ye shall know the gods," they means when you know who you are, then you can know God within you. You can know yourself as God. Okay. So that's where the idea of monotheism came from that space or from that thought process, that there is only one creator and you are the creator in human form. So you are a god, little g. Okay. You are a goddess, the little g. Okay. That's not being arrogant. It's just the science. It's common sense. It's like it's natural to think of it that way. It makes more sense than to think that you are something different and can be sent to hell. Why would God send a piece of itself to hell for eternity? That's why these ideas, these Christian ideas, are so like heinous to me. They're anti-human. They're anti-God. They're anti-Christ.
Against the anointed one.
So so once you start to getting into and understanding the philosophy behind a lot of these ideas, the Christian ideas just kind of melt away. They can't make sense. They can't even scare you, because if the idea of hell doesn't even that's it can't exist.
That's right. Thinking about the root word where it comes from, that's where etymology comes in at two of these different belief systems that we have, and we'll come to find out that even linguistically is not even traced to being an African view or even a word.
No, no. So
You can debunk a lot
they
of that
made
stuff
it up.
with, yeah, you could debunk a
They
lot of
made
that
the whole
stuff with
idea.
etymology, man.
Yeah, yeah. So, but if you don't, if you don't study that stuff, anybody can tell you anything, and you'll believe it. And that's what happened with us with Christianity. And this is why people can be so twisted that they will protect Christianity to their death, even though it's destroying us. It's destroying us. It's destroying society. It's destroying humanity. These negative beliefs. We immediately assume and let's just look at the practical side of believing that we're all born wicked. Okay. We're all born sinners.
Let's talk about
If
it, bro.
you are a Christian, and let's just say you're dating, and your assumption is that everybody is wicked and somebody cheats on you, then you're going to assume that's just the natural way that everybody is, because everybody's born wicked and a sinner. Every person that cheats, every person has the possibility of cheating on you before you can even consider that they could be trustworthy and truthful to you. So that frame sets a frame for the whole way that you deal with relationships, or it can. So that's why I said we have to get out of that negative way of thinking about the world. Is because the way I see it, and the way that I've experienced humanity, is when things have gone bad, humanity steps up with love and appreciation for everybody. At the worst times, humanity becomes its best. I don't care what race, what creed, what religion.
9/11 is a perfect example of that.
Man, 9/11. How about in
George
Louisiana? Man, George. All of these times when the hurricane hit Louisiana, this was a number of years ago, and people were flooded out their homes. People being killed. People were taking care of each other. You've seen tsunamis across the world. You've seen different places where there's been mass tragedy, and humanity steps up with love. Now, if that ain't something good about humanity, at its worst times, they become their best. You can't accept that idea that humanity is wicked. Because in those times, and that's not to say that there aren't people that do bad stuff, But for the most part, people step up through love. So
That's
it's an
true.
amazing thing. Amazing thing.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's absolutely powerful. Let's talk about what things can some individuals do to help themselves to get rid of, to detoxify their spirits from these toxic religious teachings that keeps them from evolving and walking in the power of their higher self.
Yeah, and no, so and great question, man. Great question too, because I think one of the biggest things that my work has done is just to at least make people aware of the frame, of the negative frame. If nothing else, you become aware of the negative frame. So until you can start to reach or start to think at a higher level, until you can start to think about what you believe and why you believe it, you are stuck in somebody else's frame. So one of the first things to me is that you have to be able to take a metacognitive state and actually think about what you think and what you believe and why you believe it. Until you do that, you cannot analyze the frame that you're living in, because your beliefs are literally the frame that you live within. It's the frame, it's the way that you see life. And your beliefs are created by you. Perspective is your superpower. And you can decide to have a negative, look at the world in a negative way, or you can decide to look at a world in an optimistic way. Okay. The world is going to reflect either way back to you. Christianity automatically sets us up with a negative frame. The world is wicked. Mankind is wicked. Matter of fact, you don't even want to learn and gain knowledge. I mean, the Christianity is one of the only spiritual. Well, it ain't a spiritual system. I was about to cuss.
Thank you.
It's it's the only. It's a religious system that basically outlaws getting knowledge, gaining knowledge. And think about it. They set up one of the first stories in the Bible is Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve eating from the tree of good and evil, or getting knowledge from the tree of good and evil. They essentially outlaw gaining knowledge. But from a Khemetic and esoteric perspective, that story has a whole different and powerful meaning. Okay. So Adam and Eve, from a Khemetic perspective and the Khemetic teachings, Adam and Eve represented the universal idea of human consciousness. Not man or woman, because all of us have a masculine and feminine side in our consciousness. Okay. So with Adam and Eve, they represented the totality of human consciousness. The ego was Adam. Okay, the active principle, the outward looking principle. Okay, the ego. So that's what our ego is it's designed to see outside of us. Okay, to take data from outside of us to help us understand what is within us. Okay, Eve was the intuitive feminine aspect. Okay, the snake was wisdom, and before Christianity, snakes always represented wisdom. So the snake in the Garden of Eden was giving Eve wisdom. The fruit that Eve got and gave to Adam was wisdom, metaphorically, esoterically. Okay. So it was Eve, the intuitive aspect, giving the egotistical aspect the wisdom so that it could make better decisions. And Christianity says now you know like the gods know, and now I'm going to banish you from the Garden of Eden. They outlawed gaining knowledge, gaining wisdom. If you think about it, a person that is the most faithful A person that has the best faith is a person that just believes without questioning. Christianity raises ignorance and wanton ignorance as a higher level of spirituality. So you get stuck in this frame where you can't even look outside of it, because if you look outside of it and start to question it, that means that you're questioning your faith. And if you're questioning your faith, you can't be a good Christian. And if you're not a good Christian, then you're probably going to go to hell. So they set up this whole hierarchical way of thinking that keeps you trapped. And that's where a lot of our people now today, they know intuitively that something's just not right. They know it, they feel it, that it's not right.
But they think it's the devil because the way they've been taught.
They think it's the devil.
Bro, I went through that before I left it. Before I left it, my wife and I, we talk about it, and I promise to goodness, I used to have that war. Like, you know, that verse says there's a war going on in our members.
Yes.
When we go to do, you know, the right thing, you know, evil is always present. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like that's what I was going through in my mind, but it was actually the higher consciousness. It was actually wisdom talking to me. But we're taught to call good evil, and we're taught to call evil good.
Well, we're taught to call evil something that questions Christianity.
That's a fact, Jack.
If it questions Christianity, that can't be nothing but the devil. You know, how many times have we even have to ask ourselves the question, because Christianity causes you to disconnect from your own inner wisdom. How many times do we have to ask as Christians, man, is this from God or the devil? Is this coming from God or the devil? We had to question our own mind. We couldn't trust
our own consciousness. Our own consciousness talking to us.
And we could not trust it. We were taught not to trust it. Lean not on your own
understanding. Woo! Go ahead, big bro.
Bro. So we're taught to basically look at first of all, we're taught to look at ourselves as negative. So it's a self-loathing, you know, we're born sinners. Then we're taught not to question. And then we're taught basically that if we do question, that means that we're probably not a very good Christian, and we're going to end up going to hell to burn for eternity. And you wonder, so when people are able to step out of that, brother, when they're able, I say that they are some of the strongest, mentally strongest individuals on the planet to be able to break from that way of thinking.
That is the truth, man. And then on top of that, you think about it too. Now, this entity that they believe in is going to send them to hell. And I thought that God know everything.
Well, this is the thing.
So why you going to say, why did you allow me to live just so I can die, so I can burn forever? Now, you knew everything I was going to do before I did it, but you're going to punish me for it.
Well, bro, this is the other thing.
You know what I'm saying?
So God, then Isaiah 45:7 says, I God created all. I created the good and I created the evil and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So God created everything, including the devil, that he can't control. The devil causes us to sin according to Christianity. And instead of punishing the devil because he started it, we the ones that's supposed to get sent to hell. How much sense does that make?
Exactly.
It makes no sense whatsoever. So when you start to look and analyze these ideas, and analyze simply means that you're breaking it apart. When you start to break down those ideas, man, it's like they are absolutely asinine.
That is absolutely true, man. That is absolutely true. And then, you know, they put all their trust. Unfortunately, we be putting all of our trust into this entity that allegedly is supposed to exist, but they don't want to deal with this. How can this entity, right, deliver you from your sins but can't deliver you from your enemy.
It makes no sense.
How can this entity can deliver you from your sins, but can't deliver you from your enemy? What happened to our ancestors when they was in those churches? They got
Bro,
bombed.
bro,
They
don't
got
get me
bombed.
wrong. That was one of the things that set me on the path, was on this path later, was how come I can't get my prayers answered? What is it? That really made me start to study what was prayer about, because what I noticed is that there were people who were non-Christian that got their prayers answered, but I was a Christian supposedly. Okay, I thought, I wasn't perfect, but I thought I was pretty good, but I couldn't get the prayers answered when I wanted and when I needed. So that told me if a non-Christian could get their prayers answered, that automatically made me start to question things about Christianity. Something ain't right. If I'm Christian and I'm supposed to be put ahead of the line, basically, something ain't right.
Not right at all, big bro.
Yeah. So again, if you start to look at these ideas and start to question them, they just don't hold up. They don't make sense.
Not at all. Not at all.
No.
Is there any last words you want to leave with the people? Any last thoughts you want to leave with them? I'm definitely put your information back up so everybody could contact you.
Yeah, man. So this is what I would say is that, first of all, man, you have to learn to trust yourself. You have to learn to trust your own guidance and wisdom. Okay, your own inner guidance. All right. Once you learn to trust your own inner guidance, and that's not always easy to do when you come out of this ideas, and understand, my brothers and sisters, when you leave Christianity, the indoctrination does not go away overnight. It just doesn't. I've been out of Christianity for over 20 years, and I still catch myself thinking stuff in a Christian way sometimes.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Fact, big bro.
So just and I'm talking about the ideas of being unworthy, because so you have to trust yourself. You have to question, you have to start to looking at why you believe what you believe, because if there are certain things that are happening in your life, you have the ability to change them. But if they're not changing, then you have to look at the way that you're thinking. You create your reality based on the way that you believe. Your beliefs are your frame, and your frame is what's being reflected back to you as life. When you can change your frame, you can change your life. And that's what I teach at my stuff. So my African Mind Rewire class, my coaching program, I help people in 3 months. If you've been stuck in neutral for years, and you have had that Christian mindset, I can help you change that in 3 months. Get you unstuck and get you to living life on your terms without guilt or shame, because that's one of the other things that we'll do, is that we feel guilty for taking care of us.
Wow.
Taking
Man,
care of ourselves.
we'll mess around and start a whole nother program off of that one. We'll start a whole nother program. It is okay to love yourself, man.
It's okay. If
It's
you don't
okay
love
to
you,
just
who
love.
else?
You know what I'm saying? Why everything you do in word and deed, do unto the Lord. If God is love, then what's
You
the
are God.
problem what's the problem with love songs? Oh, that's the devil. Is it? Really? The song by Music to Soul Child?
This is the question.
As
Oh,
long
beautiful
as your
song.
love don't change. I love you
Yeah.
when your hair turn gray. I love you when you gain a little weight. But everything the devil. If it ain't got everything, if it ain't got nothing to do with that, it's the devil. I'm like, how is that? If God is love and that's a love song, and the man is singing love for his woman, how's that the devil then?
This is the question I would ask for that.
Oh, we get ready to start another show.
This is the thing. If there's one creator that creates everything in the universe, why didn't it limit itself to creating only certain things?
There you go.
It never limited itself. Whatever that is, it never limited itself. It created, and it created from its place of joy. Plain and simple.
Wow.
Was
That
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 your wife Amani? So thank you, Amani. Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
yes,
So
yes,
just
that's my
enjoy
beautiful
the
queen
conversation.
right there.
I
Well,
hope
okay,
you guys
family.
got something out of it, and something of worth, and so I definitely enjoyed being here.
Hey, you know it, big brother. Thank you once again for coming on. Here you have it, family. Once again, our good brother Reginald Martin in the building, the founder of Khemetic Center Living. If he drops some bombs on you tonight, come on, let's show him some love, man. Drop some fire emojis in that chat. Drop some fire emojis in that chat. Show our brother some love on this evening. If he brought the heat on this evening, if you brothers and sisters were blessed by what was shared by our big brother on this evening, drop some fire emojis in the chat. Let's give him some love. Give
Well,
him
I
that heat
appreciate y'all.
because he brought the heat. Give him that heat. Yes, indeed. So, hey, family, thank you so much for tuning in to EY Pele Movement. Again, EY Pele Movement is a ministry where we focus on your spiritual, your physical, financial well-being. Okay, and EY Pele is a Yoruba word for a gentle character. And we thank you all so much for tuning in on this evening. Thank you for showing your love for all you brothers and sisters who follow our brother. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much for showing up and showing out. Thank you all for your comments in the chat. You know, thank you all for the lovers and the likes. Thank you for getting it up and bringing up, more people to come view, because that's what it's about, reaching more people, right? We don't want to keep this to
Absolutely.
ourselves. We do not want to keep this to ourselves. It would be remiss of us if we kept this information to ourselves. Somebody else out there is just like you and I, all of us who came from religiosity, spirituality, and they're trying to find a spiritual home. Well, hopefully tonight you found a platform or some platforms where you could come and rest your spirit. Okay, your spirit get fed. And you can talk to people who had the same like precious mindset as you. Okay, so hopefully you found some value. If you have, please go to our brother, YouTube channel, Khemetic Center Living. Make sure you check him out in his program. I put his website right there. Okay, make sure you follow him on YouTube. Make sure you hit him up on Instagram. I got his Instagram there. Okay, so make sure you follow, tap in, so you can tap in. Tap in so you can tap in.
All right, all right. And I said, I know I got family that's here too. And hey, y'all follow this brother. So he's doing his thing. He and his wife. So y'all follow him. Show him some love. Bakar, put your channel up there too, and your IG, because I know I got family that's here too, man. So hey, we can start to exchange with each other. So that'll be a powerful thing. So people of like minds is a beautiful thing.
Okay, sure. I do that for him real quick. It's EY Pele Movement. Guys, let me see, put it up here real fast.
Yeah, and I think you're EY Pele on IG as well, right?
Yes, that is correct. I'm getting ready to put it up here because I got my we got our banner up here. I put it up there.
All right.
Bang.
There you
So
go.
there we go, fam. So you can hit us up right there on YouTube. You can hit us up via Instagram. Also, you can hit us up via email. If you want to be a guest on the program, okay, please feel free to contact us. Okay, we got to vet you. We got to have a live discussion. If you have some spiritual content that you want to share, because we know we don't know everything. We're in this together. And that's the way we like to do business. We are a family. We all a vibe tribe. We vibing on that same frequency. So let us all vibe together. Let us share together. Let us feast together. Let us grow together. Let us do it together because we're a family, man. So, hey, we appreciate the love, big bro. Thank you so much for that drop, as we would say in the DJ world, that drop.
Hey, well, thank y'all for having me. So both you and Amani. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, fam. We get ready to sign out. We have our programs every Sunday and Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. That'll be 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My wife and I, we come together and we do programs as well. So we would love for you to join us. And also, brother, what days you do your programs on, please and thank you.
Wednesday nights. So I do a YouTube live on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. So that's where I do that here. I also have a community that we do some lives once a month, and we do that here where we can actually see each other on camera at kclcommunity.com. And so if you want to connect there, you can do that as well.
Okay, fam. So there you have it. We getting ready to sign out. We love all of y'all. Have a blessed rest of your evening, and may your weekend be the same. Peace and love.